What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including Keith Lee's sad demotion, Jinder Mahal is coming back, Braun Strowman's incredible body transformation, a WWE superstar isn't showing up to tapings, the time Chris Jericho almost died in the ring, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists, and check out my third channel if you have some time. One of our most recent videos is hilarious cyberpunk glitches. Whew, that was a disaster. Now let's hit the intro and get straight into the first story. Now, our first story looks at Keith Lee's sad demotion. Now, we've covered the news about Keith Lee and other wrestlers sent back to PC as Vince believes they need some more training, but it's also been reported that Vince just doesn't get it when it comes to Lee. Well, it looks like the demotion is in full effect, as at one point Lee defeated Randy Orton clean, and now he's on main event facing Angel Garza. Now, it's bad enough seeing Garza on the B show, but seeing Lee is a travesty. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Oh, main event, that means nothing. It doesn't mean a burial. No, it's not a complete burial, but let's just take, for example, superstars like Ricochet and Aleister Black. Oh, they're doing well, aren't they? Well, hopefully this isn't the end of Lee on the main roster, but it just shows that Vince just isn't interested in NXT stars. What do you guys think of this move? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Jinder Mahal is in NXT India. Now, we recently reported on the news that the WWE's NXT India show is about to begin filming, and now more details are emerging. In an exclusive report by Sportskeeda, they provided more details on the WWE's new show, which will be airing in India, including the show's launch date of 26 January, which is the Indian holiday Republic Day. In addition, the new show will be taped at the Performance Center in Orlando, Florida, in order to bypass COVID-related travel restrictions. The tournament will be held for the NXT India Championship, including stars such as Jinder Mahal, the Singh brothers, Indu Sher, Jeet Rama, and one or more of the three recruits who were recently signed by the company after the tryouts in Mumbai: Gurvinder Singh, Sukhwinder Grewal, and Lakshmi Kant Rajput. Now, according to Sportskeeda, the WWE hopes to have an NXT Performance Center in India by 2022 if the pandemic ends soon. There are also talks about NXT Asia, but as of now, the pandemic seems to have things on hold. The WWE Senior Director of Talent Development talked to Sportskeeda about the importance of the Indian market. India is one of our top international markets. In terms of audience size, it is our largest. Something like 89 million Indians watch WrestleMania 33, 50 million Indians watch Raw and SmackDown every week on Sony 10.1 and Sony 10.1 HD. Sunday Damal has 25 million tuning in, and those are numbers greater than any other international markets we have. Now, although the WWE is known for fudging its viewer numbers, there's no denying the Indian market's potential as a revenue source for the WWE. With the WWE said to have been launching its new NXT India show, it makes sense to have a popular superstar as well as local hero anchoring the show. This could give the former WWE champion time to rebuild his character after 2 injuries sidetracked him. Next up, Braun Strowman's body transformation. Another WWE superstar has taken to social media to show off an amazing body transformation, with Braun Strowman tweeting a picture of his powerful physique and his previously pudgy profile. Just gonna leave this here. Hashtag what's stopping you from reaching your dreams. Hashtag screw depression. Hashtag unstoppable. Wrestling's monster among men was suspended in a storyline for attacking WWE official Adam Pearce, reportedly in order to give Strowman time to deal with a knee injury. It's clear Strowman didn't waste his time sitting around the house watching Ride Along. Next up, the time that Jericho almost died at TLC. 2022 will mark the 12th edition of the WWE's TLC pay-per-view, a show that traditionally closes out the year with some dangerous spots. One such spot occurred at the first TLC when D-Generation X challenged Jericho for the unified WWE Tag Team Championship. Recently, Chris Jericho recalled a spot where, in his words, "I almost died." Jericho was standing on the Big Show's shoulders when Shawn Michaels superkicked the big man, sending Jericho over the top rope where he missed a table. Well, almost missed it, as his head cracked against the side of the table and one of the legs went straight into his side. Watching the segment, it's a miracle that Jericho wasn't seriously injured. Next up, James Ellsworth nixed WWE plans. Indie wrestler turned WWE superstar James Ellsworth spent 2 years in the WWE as both the scrappy underdog babyface and later as an annoying sidekick who helped Carmella in her quest to become SmackDown Women's Champion. Ellsworth's charisma and ability to sell led to a WWE contract after he made a great impression during Braun Strowman's Raw debut. But Chris Van Vliet recently interviewed Ellsworth about this pivotal match and what happened afterwards. "I sit down and everybody's telling me how good of a job I did. I'm just being cool about it, saying thank you. I'm eating and Braun comes up and gives me a bear hug saying, 'Man, you did great. Thank you so much.' I said, 'No, thank you.' I'm keeping my cool and wondering what is happening." Vince kept his word. He kept in touch with me and wound up tuning everything he did. Ellsworth was signed and his momentum grew surprisingly fast for a babyface. According to the man who made the line, "Any man with 2 hands has a fighting chance," they were doing this thing where Heath Slater didn't get drafted by Raw or SmackDown, so the major idea that never happened was originally I was going to wrestle Heath Slater at SummerSlam and the winner gets a SmackDown contract. I was going to win. That was the original idea to bring me in. Then Heath started getting over as a babyface doing that, so they're like, "You're both babyfaces, we can't do that." I got bummed out because I only had the Braun Strowman match. But things worked out well for Ellsworth as he was put into a World Championship program with AJ Styles and also worked alongside Dean Ambrose. Next up, Lars Sullivan hasn't been seen backstage. Well, wondering where Lars Sullivan has been lately? Nope. He's just happy that he hasn't been on WWE TV. Well, whatever your view is, the Freak has not been on SmackDown. Quite a shift as he was heavily pushed following his return after a lengthy rehabilitation for a knee injury. Not only is Sullivan off television, but Ringside News reports the big man hasn't been seen backstage at SmackDown, which is quite unusual as wrestlers typically attend TV tapings even when they're not wrestling. Unfortunately, there's no word on why he's been missing in action, but it could be that the WWE simply doesn't need him or have any plans for him. Next up, WWE's Nightmare Before TLC Raw. With TLC this Sunday, WWE is airing a special edition of Raw to hype the pay-per-view with several matches already announced. Titled The Nightmare Before TLC, the show has the following matches and segments scheduled: AJ vs Sheamus, Jeff Hardy and the New Day vs The Hurt Business, Nia Jax vs Lana, oh great, and Bray Wyatt takes a WWE Thunderdome field trip. Speaking of TLC, be sure to check out our special news and rumors video on the show as well as our predictions for every match. And finally, Eric Bischoff names the worst WCW pay-per-view ever. Now, Bischoff spoke about what he sees as WCW's worst pay-per-view of all time, and as anyone who has watched WCW's dying days knows, there's plenty of candidates. Bischoff said that people who are pointing to things like the finger poke of doom as being responsible for WCW's demise don't understand the big picture, and that he only truly understands what it was like in WCW's good and bad years. In terms of the worst pay-per-view ever, Eazy-E pointed to Starrcade in 1999, arguing, "The show was the absolute worst pay-per-view from opening bell to closing bell that I've ever seen in my life. There was not even a good match by accident on this show. It was 2 hours and 43 minutes of horrible." We all forget that Katie Vick may have been one of the worst moments in television history in professional wrestling. It didn't affect anything because they went on and corrected and recognized it for what it was. They tried something and it didn't work. In this case, on this pay-per-view, there is nothing you can move on to. It was just that god-awful. Do you guys agree with Bischoff? Let us know in the comments down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook for exclusive lists. Check out Incredible if you can. And I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.